Hello and welcome to Adventures in TV Land. Now this is going to be somewhat of a rambling rant. On Friday, November 22nd, 2024, a friend sent me a notice, and then I was able to look up the news later on myself that the Rock and Roller Coaster at Disney's Hollywood Studios was going to be revamped with a Muppets theme. And when I was told that, and I was kind of excited about that, the fact of that, because I love the Muppets. I grew up with Jim Henson, with the Muppets. As a child, I watched the Muppet Show. It was one of my favorite shows watching growing up. Late regular television had a Muppet variety show in the evening during the week. It was pretty awesome. I grew up with the original with Sesame Street. It was with the characters Jim Henson created that for Sesame Street, as well as with Fraggle Rock on HBO. Fraggle Rock wasn't the only reason, but it was one of the reasons that my family we got cable back in the day in the 80s because of Fraggle Rock and some other family-oriented content that you could get on cable that you couldn't get anywhere else. And Jim Henson's The Storyteller, it was a series, didn't last very long, but I loved those stories when that aired as well. And Jim Henson, he was a big part of my life growing up, in all honesty. He influenced me. The things he created, they influenced me and had an impact upon me, even now. I discovered, though, that although the Muppets were going to be getting a roller coaster, their theater there at Disney, at Hollywood Studios, which was once called MGM Studios, is going to be taken over with something else to be announced yet. Probably some sort of Monsters, Inc. theater or something. And that deeply saddened me, I'm not going to lie, because Muppet Vision 3D, while I will admit there are parts of it that might seem dated, they could refresh it a little bit, maybe redo the movie, update it or something, I'm not for sure, but Muppet Vision 3D was the last project that Jim Henson worked on. Jim Henson died in 1990, and about a year later, Muppet Vision 3D opened, but that was the last thing he had been working on, the last thing he had a hand in and had a final say. It was the last project that Jim Henson was a part of. The theater there, for anyone who has not been there, the theater is an integral part of the presentation. It's not just this 3D movie that you see, this 3D experience. There are Muppet animatronics that pop up in different parts of the theater. There are actually live action Muppet performers that come out. It's an entire experience. And, to take that out of there, you're losing that, because even if you would show it somewhere else, yeah, you might have the movie and put it in 2D form, but it's just not the same. It's not, because that theater, that Muppet theater there, Muppet Vision 3D, was created especially for that experience. So in short, it saddens me greatly. It just shows and there's no reason really to do it. If you look actually and study the property there at Hollywood Studios, there are several other places where Monsters, Inc., where the Monster Land could be built. And not only that, even if they put it in where they're wanting to put it in, there's no reason to close the Muppets 3D Vision. You could still, it's basically a standalone experience now itself anyway, other than the little Miss Piggy fountain that's out there. But you don't have to close it. You could let that stand, and you could still build another theater to put the Monsters thing in, the Monsters Incorporated thing in. You don't have to destroy Jim Henson's final project just because. There's no reason for it. Walt Disney has killed Kermit the Frog, has killed the Muppets, and they're just peeing all over the grave of Jim Henson at this point. They don't care. This has been a rambling review from Adventures in TV Land. Until next time, that's a wrap.